Venus beauty, Aries trouble. But I'm more interested at looking at her overlooked Venusian qualities: social capital, audacity, and passion for social justice. So when the now iconic singer Ella Fitzgerald was still an emerging artist, Marilyn Monroe, then a superstar, personally vouched for Fitzgerald to an LA nightclub. And according to renowned feminist Gloria Steinem, Marilyn Monroe promised to visit the club every night if the club owner hired Fitzgerald to perform. And the media was all over it. And Fitzgerald, by virtue of her own like genuine skill and talent, and also with the benefic stroke of good luck from Marilyn Monroe's support, became an icon that we know her to be. So Marilyn Monroe is a girl's girl, right? Like we're seeing, and we see that here. So she basically was the opposite of Sydney Sweeney, right? Like I don't know how familiar anyone here is with Sydney Sweeney discourse, and I apologize if I'm like the only one that like cares. But Sydney Sweeney is like the Gen Z generation's blonde it girl, but she's the complete opposite of Marilyn Monroe, or at least she's so far turning out to be that. Hopefully, perhaps later in life there might be a shift, a pivot, I don't know. So Sydney Sweeney um, has disavowed thus far, from what I know, any political attachment, reducing her views to simply being an artist who is against hate in a dismissively generic way, despite having been cast in films and television shows that involve trans artists and creatives of color at a time when America is becoming extremely polarized on a whole range of issues, and it's very unsafe to be queer and trans and gender diverse, an immigrant and a person of color in America right now. Sydney Sweeney just, and considering that these were the people who initially supported her, now she's just gone off and been like, I'm an artist. I'm against hate. I don't dabble in politics. And yeah, exactly. MAGA loves Sweeney, although there was a time when MAGA men were calling her mid until she did that Gene sad and suddenly her boobs were MAGA or something, which is interesting. And if anyone here has some thoughts later on, we can definitely discuss. And we can discuss later out loud as well, which could be more fun than like typing and stuff. So Marilyn was the opposite of Sydney Sweeney in other ways as well. So according to an article by Jacqueline Rose, her Marilyn Monroe's desire was to be a serious actress and a proper artist. She said, I'd like to be a fine actress. I don't want to be no, I want to be an artist, not an erotic freak. Please don't make me a joke. She told an interviewer once, please don't make me a joke. And this was a time when she was doing a lot of comedy, right? She was also a comedian, a comic actress. She said, please don't make me a joke. End the interview with what I believe. I don't mind making jokes, but I don't want to look like one. I want to be an artist and actress with integrity. And it's not surprising that many leading African American artists, like the writer James Baldwin, were enchanted by her. And yes, they saw someone who was white and blonde and beautiful, but who understood what it meant to be broken. They saw someone who was constantly reduced to what was just on the surface, instead of being seen as a full human being. And the tragedy of Marilyn Monroe, aside from dying young, aside from having her heart broken many times, was the tragedy of not being taken seriously by collaborators in an industry that she took seriously, that she earnestly engaged with. And this too is what it's like to have Venus in detriment, to navigate your relationship with respectability. And in Marilyn's chart, her 10th house is Taurus, which means that her 10th house of career is ruled by Venus and Aries in the ninth house. So on the one hand, the ruler of the career house is Venus, which suggests that beauty and art and creativity have a lot, will definitely be the theme of her career life. But it's a Venus in detriment. So like I was saying earlier, it's a Venus that is very misunderstood. It's a Venus that has to that has to make itself seen on its own terms and gets constantly pushed back and like and gets rejected. It's like, yeah, we see you, but we only see you for your beauty. We don't see you for the full person that you are.